I literally just hit 100 pounds. I've lost 101.5 pounds. And then that happens to me.
Because you're still fat. Because you're still morbidly obese. That's how big you were. That's how big you were. You lost 100 pounds. And there's still more to go, and you're still getting flagged. That's your reality. It is. It's your reality. That's it. That's it. That's your reality. Now, what are you going to do about it? Get on TikTok and complain. Okay, yeah. If you don't subscribe, you will be smacked down by the Lord. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Zuhari, and this is where I talk about anything that catches my eye, good or bad. And today I have a doozy for you all. I'm going to be talking about the Mount Everest of entitlement and a startling level, depth of lack of self-awareness. I am going to be talking about somebody who is morbidly obese, somebody who is clinically obese, somebody who is fat as society at some point may deem, somebody who is existing within a wealth of adiposity, somebody who is likely to survive the winter with very little caloric intake, like a bear in hibernation. Did you know that bears don't just sleep during hibernation? I realized too late in life that my childish thought that they should sleep and that's what hibernation is. That's not what hibernation is. I can't go into it, but if you're like me and you're a fully grown adult that thinks bears just sleep for like 3 months. It's so stupid. How could I believe that? What, they don't pee or shit for 6 months? 3 to 6 months? Okay. Anyway, before I get into it, I have to tell you that once upon a time, I myself was morbidly obese. I have been able to lose weight using God's Ozempic, self-discipline. I am very proud of the fact that I have been able to triumph over the disease that I had, which was obesity, okay? I say this to say, I'm allowed to talk about this because I am a fatty, okay? I spent most of my life overweight to obese. So I have the right to speak about this. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, is there a God? I mean, just look at the world right now. One has to wonder, is there a God? Tell me in the comment section below. I'm interested in what you have to say. It's not just a question designed to drive engagement or anything.
Charming. Incredible, man. Great job, dude.
So it's come to my attention that there has been a policy shift in some American airline where people are going to be expected to do the radical thing that is pay for the space that they take up. That's it. That's all. Okay.
I had the most awkward conversation of my entire life, and it took everything in me to not cry. I do want to start off by saying that the guy who talked to me was super sweet and super kind. And he said multiple times, like, he hated that he was having this conversation with me. I got pulled aside. I'm flying right now for work for San Diego. And I'm sitting at a chair, like, waiting.
I want you to note just how uncomfortable this guy is pulling her aside and having to have this conversation. It is uncomfortable to talk about weight because so much of it is emotional for a lot of people. But it is also very uncomfortable for somebody to have to go to you and say this. It's their job. They don't like what it feels like. And this is one way in which morbid obesity affects other people. Because as much as it's not a pleasant experience for her, I can imagine, it's also not a pleasant experience for him. And now this is something that is part of his reality.
At the gate, and mind you, this is my connecting flight, so I've already flown once through Southwest to get here. He pulls me aside and he goes, "It's been flagged for me that you might be a customer of size."
What gave it away? What gave it away? Did we really need Okay, probably wasn't there, and then somebody had to be like, psst, psst. There's a customer of size. This whole thing is so socially awkward. I feel sorry for everyone involved. I really do mean everyone.
And he's like, let me tell you what the policy is. I'm like, okay. And I knew that they changed their like policy of you can't sit wherever you want. He goes, so technically you're supposed to buy 2 seats. And I go, well, I'm not doing that.
Okay, he says, there's been a change in policy. Policy. He has no control over this. This is a law. You can't bring this onto a plane. Also, if you are a customer of size, and I will get to that term at the end, this is the policy that has been made by the people who run this. I want you to take notice of just how quickly she said, well, I'm not doing that. Policy, opinion, policy, opinion, policy, opinion. Only one of these things is going to determine whether or not you are allowed to get on the plane. Well, I'm not doing that. You? Do you see the entitlements that I am talking about? Okay.
I'm not spending $500 more. I got here, I was sitting next to someone. I've never, ever been told, ever, on any airline. 1, I've never had a conversation about my weight. 2.
Okay. I've never, ever been told by any airline. Did he not start this with there has been a change in policy? What do other airlines have to do with this? What is this justification that she is about to give got to do with anything? It's the new policy. Doesn't matter. This is like when more and more laws started getting introduced to restrict public smoking.
I hear the ballet in Prague is excellent this season.
Hello, Jog.
Hello, Ian. Terrible, isn't it? Every year it gets worse.
First, they take away our smoking room. Then they push us outside.
I wonder when they will decide just to get it over with and kill us.
Poor Jog. Such a pessimist.
Oh yeah, coming to this bar and I've never ever had to smoke outside. Yeah, well, you do now because the policy has changed. That's reality. That is reality.
I've never been asked to buy another seat. And he's like, well, you know, he's like, I don't think it's gonna be an issue, but we moved you. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, I'm fine with sitting somewhere else, but I'm not buying another flight or another seat. And I was like, so should I never fly Southwest again? Because
Oh my God. What does he have to do with this? He's not the one profiting. He just came to do his job. They said this is the policy. If you see a fat fuck, get that fat fuck off the plane. I'm sorry. The views presented in this video do not represent Southwest Airlines at all. Southwest Airlines would never refer to morbidly obese people as fat fucks. We'll instead call them people of size, even though all people are of a size. We simply use terms like this because these people are fat fucking babies who can't take reality. The fact that they're big and they take up more space and it's not my job to call their feelings. I am a capitalist. Once more, Southwest Airlines does not agree with any of Ohari's opinions. It's not his airport, and if you never fly Southwest again, oh no, how is that gonna affect his life? Sarah. I don't know her name. Okay, I'm sorry to all the Sarahs. I don't know her name, so I'm not even gonna, I don't know her name, so she's not Sarah. I'm sorry.
I've never been approached. I mean, we are having a conversation about my weight right now. With a complete, sorry, the toilet just went off in the bathroom because I'm just like, I literally left. And I think you could tell I was getting choked up.
I just feel like I'm at the airport and I have to use the bathroom, which I already don't want to do because I don't like using public restrooms. The last thing I would want is to do my business, knowing that there was somebody recording themselves. There could be an audio footprint of my shit. I just don't feel comfortable with that at all. I don't think that this is something somebody should be doing. I don't understand why your first inclination after experiencing this would be, let me go to the shitter and film myself.
She's one of them. A doo-doo creature.
I've already lost 100 pounds.
congratulations. Congratulations on losing 100 pounds. That is something that is commendable on a social level. On a business level, what the fuck does that have to do with fuck shit? Is Southwest supposed to be like, my God, she lost 100 pounds? Let's credit her the other seat because she did it, she triumphed. And so, are they supposed to clap for you? What does you losing 100 pounds have to do with the fact that you have to buy 2 seats currently? That just means that's how far gone you were. That losing 100 pounds means you are still a person of size. But sure, Southwest should acknowledge you and your weight.
I mean, it's motivation to keep going, but like...
It's motivation to keep going. That's where this video should have ended. That's it. It's motivation to keep going. The same logic that led you to losing 100 pounds should sustain you right now in this difficult moment where you are told that you can't, you still have to buy 2 seats. This should give you more steam. That would be a productive way to respond to the very uncomfortable and painful situation you are currently finding yourself in, because if you lose more weight, you will never, ever again have to be flagged as a person of size. You can just chill in there knowing ain't nobody gonna say shit about my ass if they didn't want one seat. But no, let's go to the shitter and complain.
Even after losing 100 pounds, I'm not immune to this. Shit like this still happens.
On Tuesday, and now it's the weekend, Saturday. I've gone on my work trip and I'm back already. And I recorded those videos right after I had that conversation with the supervisor at Southwest.
That was a very emotionally raw time to record yourself in. That was a very emotionally raw video to send before you were actually able to have time to process the whole event. I find it very unproductive to come onto the internet giving your raw emotions. I think that you need to process those emotions, because coming back later to contextualize not only those emotions, but also the words you said about those emotions and why you feel differently now that you've had time to process, you could cut all of that explanation out by just processing things first.
And I was able to really sit on it and think about that whole interaction. And I feel like when I made that video, it was like my immediate raw reactions. And now, having a few days passed, I'm more just like mad and appalled and disappointed.
I get it, girl. I would be mad, appalled, and disappointed in myself if I posted some shit like that online. I fully get you. It's okay. We all humiliate ourselves sometimes. The internet has now become forever. It's a whole realm we live in. It's life, girl. It's okay to feel disappointed, appalled by what you put online, your raw emotions. It's okay. I get it. Now that you've thought about it, you're coming back and you'll be like, I shouldn't have posted that because it had nothing to do with that young man. It's a policy that exists on an airline that exists to make money, something that is not a human right. Something that comes with wanting to have access to their services. I am disappointed and appalled and embarrassed in myself for expecting the world to cater to the results of my active decisions. I get it, girl. I get it.
In my personal opinion, I think discriminating against fat people is the only thing that is socially acceptable still in terms of
Well, she went in a different direction. Okay. We know where this line of reasoning goes, and I know she's about to say it. As a Black woman, I'm about to listen to this morbidly obese white woman living in a first world country. Oh yeah, y'all gonna be like, sorry, living in a developed country, to talk about discrimination. This is about to happen. Somebody who's being discriminated against because of something that they can control is about to, you know what? I could be wrong. I was wrong previously with where she was going to go with it, right? So this time I'm wrong. She's not about to do what I think she's about to do. She's not.
Discrimination. There is no scale in terms of what qualifies someone needing to buy an extra seat. And they said, like,
two things. Discriminating on the basis of the space you occupy is not the same as being discriminated against for something that you cannot control. The parameters of this discrimination is that in order to utilize our services, which are for profit, we require you to either fit these dimensions or buy a second seat. So when she says there is no scale or no measurement, let's talk about a thing called inferring. We can infer from the policy that if you are over the dimensions of the seat, which can be seen via our eyes as you spill over or make someone else uncomfortable, taking up whatever space they could have had if somebody was sitting in their seat and not occupying more space, those are the parameters. That's it. Fine, you can get it on the fine print then. These are the dimensions of the seat, and if you are over these dimensions, you pay more. Where was the confusion? Do you want them to give you a weight size? It doesn't work that way. It's not like, oh, okay, 200 pounds at 4'11" and 200 pounds at 6 feet is different. So it won't be that, obviously. It'll be about the dimensions. Can you fit? No. Do you fit? But also you make somebody uncomfortable? Yes. Then you don't really fit now, do you? What about the experience of other people? What about that?
You know, you need to be able to sit in your seat, put the armrest down, and not spill over into the next seat.
I should have just let her speak.
I can put the armrest down. I do encroach on the other person, though. I do.
So then what's the point? What are we dealing with here? What are we talking about? There, you're supposed to put it down and not encroach on somebody's space. You do encroach. Okay. And that's why you need to buy an extra seat. Because you can't just expect society to continuously accommodate your morbid obesity. Something you can change, as evidenced by the fact that you've already lost 100 pounds. Some of y'all just need to go and face some real discrimination. Discrimination based on things that you cannot change. Go feel that shit. Then come back to me. Fucking buy a second seat, bitch.
But there, you know, after that conversation, I really started to look around to see who else was on this plane. Like, what does everyone else look like? And I was not the only large person, but I was the only person approached.
How do you know? How do you know? And even at that point, even if it is the case that there are other large people, but you're the only one who's been approached, what can these employees do about that? It's a policy. If other people should have been flagged, then those people can get in trouble. Somebody can come over and be like, well, I thought I could sit comfortably, but no, there was that person of size. Why didn't they get 2 seats? Oh, now other people are getting in trouble. Also, you don't know. You don't know. What do other people have to do with you? Are you going to start a movement on the plane? Is that what you're going to do?
And it makes me wonder why that is. You know, there was an elderly man who also needed a seatbelt extender and couldn't get up to let the person in the middle sit next to him because he was handicapped. Now, do I think that he should have to pay for another ticket? Absolutely not.
Again, there's no way she can verify that the other people weren't approached or weren't flagged. She doesn't know. At this point, we're in her land of assumption. And if he does take up more space because he requires a seatbelt extender, then yes, whether or not he's handicapped, he should have to pay more.
But if they think I need to buy an extra ticket, why doesn't he? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that I don't understand with this policy, is that there's no rhyme or reason for how they single people out and how they demand to buy a ticket.
Oh my God. Yes, there is a way to determine. Yes, they gave you They give you how they decide. It isn't that there's no rhyme or reason. Can you fit in the seat? If you're in the seat, can you put the rest down comfortably? No. That's the rhyme. That's the rhythm. That's it. You're trying to complicate something that shouldn't be that complicated. Because you are expecting the world to cater to your feelings. My emotions!
My emotions! My emotions!
And it literally, not to be dramatic, but feels like a witch hunt against fat people, which is so crazy because
Not to be dramatic, but I'm about to be like the most fucking dramatic anybody can ever be. This feels like a witch hunt against fat people. It just feels like fat people being treated like everybody else is discrimination. Us not getting preferential treatment is discrimination. It's like, oh my God. It's not like somebody can just come into the plate and be like, hey, can I pay half the ticket price? Because, I know I take up a whole seat, but I just feel like maybe I should pay for half. Because I feel fucking special. Being fat is not a disability. It can lead to you being disabled, but it is not a disability. It is not, you are not a protected class of people. You're not. You're a person just like everybody else. You can change it about yourself. It's not an intrinsic quality. There's no witch hunt on fat people. And to make fat people some sort of group, fuck off. What is this thing about having to have your weight be part of your primary identity? That shouldn't be the case. The relationship you have with this weight of yours is almost to protect it. Because you want people to continue to accommodate for it. If you can get a free seat, if you can encroach on somebody else and not be financially accountable for that, then why should everybody else? Do you see how you've been existing in a state of privilege? No. Because I feel like now that there are all these regulations and like we can't even smoke inside hospitals anymore, it feels like a witch hunt for smokers.
You know what, Charlie? I think you're right. I think maybe we should ban smoking in here.
Oh, come on. That's completely ridiculous.
How is that ridiculous? There's smoking bans in a lot of states now.
Yes, and it's completely un-American.
If you don't like smoke, then don't come into the bar. I work in this bar. I work here. But that's because you have the freedom to choose to work here, okay? Smoking bans, they don't protect freedom. They strip them away from smokers.
Look.
Smoking, a choice. Remaining morbidly obese, a choice. Both things that are very difficult to overcome. But both things that you can overcome. Also, smoking isn't incredibly difficult to overcome anymore. There is this app called Quitcher. This is a break. I'm being sincere. There's an app called Quitcher. And it helped me quit smoking in 2021. I am absolutely repelled by cigarettes. And this happened within 4 days of using this app. I'm not kidding. 4 days I used this app. It's like remote neurosurgery where they go into your brain and they destroy this neural pathway created by a mix of chemicals designed to make you addicted. It's absolutely amazing. You don't even have to quit smoking to do it, because I was like, I'll put it off, and then I actually opened the app and I read it and it's like, no, you don't have to quit. You have to. Because they have to create that, it's kind of like Pavlov's dogs. They hear the ding, 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 and their mouth waters. Yeah, it quickly conditions you to just hate the smell. Anyway, try it out. I don't know what it's like right now. Back when I did it, it was free. I don't know what it's like right now. But please, please, please listen to Ahari right here when she says, check it out. It honestly saved and transformed my life. And it made it so, so easy. Yeah. Shout out to the people who made that app. Much love. Because I have been able to overcome a negative habit. And now there are medications such as GLP-1s. And if you have access to it, can help you overcome a terrible habit and learn something new and lose this weight. But no. We must continue to pretend that fatness is something that must be coddled and celebrated. If we're not celebrating smokers, we're not celebrating morbid obesity.
I fly Southwest all the time. They're my preferred airline, and I fly often. I would say roughly about once a month, sometimes more, sometimes less. And I flew with them because I thought that they were super inclusive and it made me feel comfortable flying.
They were not inclusive. They were permissive. They were not inclusive. For the time being, it just helped them to pretend to be accommodating to fat people, because at that point it was a thing. Then GLP-1s happened, and now it's cool again to be anti-supermorbid obesity. This inclusion, what include? Like, inclusion means you were not included, but now you're included. Fat people have always been included in buying tickets to get on Southwest and fly, I presume. I'm just assuming. Maybe fat people of a certain race only at some point, but fat has never been a reason where they were like, get the fuck out of this plane. No, they were indulgent. Yes, they weren't inclusive. They were indulgent. They were indulging your fragile ego. And now that the world isn't seeing the need to coddle super morbidly obese to obese people, you're getting a dose of reality. It's okay. The smoke is adjusted, and so will you.
And I mean, they're just going from one extreme to the other, and it just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to you because you're entitled. You expect the world to bend over backwards for you. You're expecting greedy capitalists to take you into account. Remember when people were like, oh, straight white men are the worst? I'm starting to think that morbidly obese white women in America are at the height of privilege, honestly. Because this level of a breakdown over equality, it's like a place where there was white privilege, and then they're like, hey, you know what? Instead of allowing an intrinsic quality such as your race be the thing that determines whether or not you can get here, we can open it up to all races. Oh no, everybody can get in here. It's not just for me, a white man, anymore. I'm being discriminated against. I'm pretty sure in that scenario, you'll be like, no, you're not being discriminated against. The patriarchy. Well, the fatriarchy, bitch, the fatriarchy. There's no difference between that and this, because both things are a result of a shock to the system of people who have been existing in privilege. You're the only one who is getting a discount for the space you take up. Other people who are white, not of size. People of color is white, not a color. People of size is average to small, not a size. Sick of this. This language just.
Besides it feeling like a money grab. Like, when I was talking to the supervisor, he said that they refurbished their seats, so they're even smaller than they ever have been before.
Yeah, it's a money grab. So, were you under the impression that corporations exist for what? Goodness? Did you think that Southwest was just giving people flights because they really love people and want them to be able to get places? It's a business. It's their business to decide what they're doing. And what they're doing is perfectly legal. I think. Perhaps not. What they're doing is perfectly logical. It makes sense. I wanted the money, I have it a plane. If they wanted to fly, they buy a ticket. If they are too big, they buy another ticket. The end. When somebody smaller gets on a seat and there's more space left, should they demand a refund of some sort? Because they're not taking up all the space that the customers of size are taking, so why should they pay the same? Aren't they being discriminated against? If you get to take up more space but not have to pay for it, and they take up less space, shouldn't they then somehow get remunerated for that, rewarded for that? Not even that. Shouldn't they just get the money back? Isn't it fair? Can't there be a class action lawsuit that's like, well, you're giving them free tickets. What about us? Just because we're not fucking morbidly obese doesn't mean we don't want free shit. Accountability, feeling like oppression, is scary to me. Equality, feeling like oppression, is scary to me. Imagine being so privileged and not even seeing it.
So it just feels like a money grab in terms of the part of the policy is they want people of size, is their term, people of size to purchase an extra ticket when they are checking out. So they want you to buy 2 tickets. And if the seat next to you happens to be empty, then they will refund you. But
okay, so what is the problem? What is the problem? They're giving you a chance even. They could have just said, no, you buy 2 seats. Now they're saying, hey, your refund. We're just asking you to pay for what you occupy. And if what you're occupying isn't encroaching on another paying person, then sure. But if they are, then you pay.
the part that I don't understand, which is like crazy, is like what he was saying is it has to be the seat next to you open. So if someone happens to want to buy a seat next to you and it's not open, they will charge you for that because technically they're saying they could have sold that seat. So even if there's an open seat in the front or in the back, but it's not the one right next to you, you still will have to pay for it and you won't be refunded.
Okay. Yeah, that's a smart way to make more money. It's a smart way to word it in a way that it's like they're going to benefit now more than they did previously because of the specific wording. Is it discrimination? No. It's just a company, sweetheart. It's called capitalism. Maximize profits, even at consumer experience. And if you don't like it, you have two options. You can either patronize another company, use another airline, or you can start your own airline and have your own policy. Or maybe buy a private jet, I don't know. But those are options that put you in power. Because again, these aren't human rights. They aren't fat human rights.
Needless to say, I will never be flying Southwest again. It was extremely embarrassing. I felt belittled. And the thing that, like, don't get me wrong, I know.
Oh no, she'll never fly Southwest again. Congratulations of exercising your rights within a free market to go and pay someone else. There. Could have saved yourself a lot if you just sat down and had this whole conversation with yourself in your head, never having posted anything online.
I know it. But I don't agree with the fact that I was the only one singled out. And two,
you are embarrassed. Okay, this is not the first time you're embarrassed because you're fat. You've been fat for a while now, it sounds like. So what? Being fat is embarrassing. A lot of embarrassing things happen. The world looks at you like, haha, fat funny. It sucks. It really does suck. I'm sorry that that happened to you, but that is also reality. And I found that the best way to protect myself from scenarios like that was to lose weight. Now stuff like this doesn't happen to me anymore because it was an attribute about myself that I could control. Free will.
I lost 100 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part that really stung. Is I've never had this happen at my heaviest, 100 pounds heavier.
Yeah, you've never had it happen then because that wasn't the policy then. He said the policy changed. Had there been no policy, perhaps. But clearly you understand that when you were 100 pounds heavier, that was back then where that wasn't the policy. And then you lost 100 pounds. Congratulations. But you're still at the size that is flaggable because of the dimensions of the seats. It is the policy. It's never happened to you before. Now it's happening. It sucks. It hurts. But you have so much power in this situation, as proven by the fact that you already lost 100 pounds. You did that. That's big. Literally. That's amazing. That determination to change, only you could do it, and you did. So keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. It sucks. I know what it's like to lose a lot of weight and still be very heavy and encounter people who are like, oh, you're big. And in your mind, you're like, bitch, I've already lost like 50 pounds. What the fuck do you mean? But they haven't seen you then and you still are big and that's just the reality. So you swallow the reality. What are you going to do? Debate with somebody? You have no idea. I used to be bigger than this. How dare you call me big? No, you're still big. You're not big relative to how you used to be. So big relative to you and your bodily experience, but objectively speaking, when it comes to the real world where you have to occupy space, you're big. But you're less big. And you're going to become even lesser big. And you're going to triumph over this. And you're never going to have to experience this again unless you gain weight. Which honestly, with this level of accountability, I think you would. You like accountability and you're not owning your part in this as much as you should. So it seems to me like you're very comfortable with excuses. But I don't know you. And this is very short footage of your life, but.
And I literally just hit 100 pounds. I've lost 101.5 pounds. And then that happens to me.
Because you're still fat! Because you're still morbidly obese, that's how big you were! That's how big you were! You lost 100 pounds! And there's still more to go, and you're still getting flagged. That's your reality. It is. It's your reality. That's it. That's it. That's your reality. Now what are you gonna do about it? Get on TikTok and complain. Okay, yeah.
Needless to say, I'm disappointed in how everything was handled.
I too am disappointed in how everything was handled by you. You put that person in such an uncomfortable position where you were like, well, I'm not paying. And you decide to direct your emotions about Southwest's policy onto this person who isn't making a lot of money, who has no control in any of this, and now has to deal with the emotional frustration of entitled fat people who are mad because of equality. Equality!
And I'm going to be avoiding Southwest in the future. Oh, and for context, this is what I looked like flying that day. I'll include a video.
That's what she looked like. She looked like a morbidly obese person. But you know what? She's a morbidly obese person who is 100 pounds lighter. So what are we doing here? She's already changing. I guess it's just the emotions of it. Person of size. The fact that companies are afraid to say this is a policy for obese to morbidly obese people, it says a lot. It says a lot, because when they say of size, that's what they mean. But that's not what they say, because society as a whole finds the emotional reaction that these online fat acceptance, fat empowerment groups have, they find it to be so unpleasant and inconvenient that the world is just continuously coming up with words to parachute you down to reality so that you are not hit with the gravity of the results of your own lack of exercising your agency to improve your own conditions. I remember going to the beach once at my heaviest and people looking at me because I was heavy. At least that's what I assumed. Because when you're big, that's an insecurity, and you kind of feel like that's why people are looking at you. But I could kind of tell. I didn't start a protest. I didn't start a movement. I accepted that that's the nature of reality. That's the gut reaction that people have. And I can spend my life trying to rewire people's brains to perceive my super morbid obesity as something that is okie dokie. Something that isn't remarkable, like, whoa. Or I could change that about myself. And it didn't happen overnight. Therapy helped me a lot because I was able to dissect that relationship. And because of that, I am where I am today. And if I had had the attitude of the world owes me coddling, I'd still be morbidly obese. It's not a nice place to be, as evidenced by how hurt you were because your weight was brought up to your face. I know it hurts, but that's just fucking reality, bitch. That's just reality. Keep going, keep losing that weight. I don't expect society to go out of its way to accommodate your emotions.
My emotions! My emotions!
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you were entertained. If you were, please tell me. What do you think about this entitlement that we just watched? Or do you think that I'm wrong and she isn't entitled? Disagree, agree, tell me in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Bye, 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 bye.
Subscribe, we'll find you.